Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, the Supreme Court has basically admitted, without saying a word, they have no intention of ruling on Donald Trump's immunity claim this week. The legal experts are saying that it's customary for the Chief Justice to announce when their session is going to be ending. They usually make an announcement one day in advance, which would be today. And Chief Justice Roberts hasn't said anything. So they're going to drag this into next week, apparently. And here's what I think is going on, which is fairly obvious, a fairly obvious conclusion to come to. Of course, the conservatives are trying to interfere in the election, right? They are clearly trying to prevent Trump from going to trial before November. If they weren't, they wouldn't have declined to take this case months ago. Jack Smith, as you all recall, asked them to take up this case last year. I think it was November or December of last year, and they said, no, we want to see what happens with the lower courts. Now, all of a sudden, they have to have it, and they're going to sit on it forever, for months. But besides that, I think they're terrified of MAGA. I think they are terrified of another January 6th type of uprising, whether from the left or the right. And it remains to be seen how they plan to rule, but I believe it's not going to go in Trump's favor 100%. That would just be batshit crazy. So, I think they're going to want to issue their ruling on the very final day, and then they're going to peace out for their summer break before MAGA maniacs can plan an attack. My prediction is that we're going to have 4 justices. I think we're going to have Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, Alito, and Thomas. I think those 4 men are going to try to give Trump some sort of cover, some sort of immunity from these charges in particular. I think that they'll do their best. I think that they're going to try to twist themselves into pretzels to preserve prosecution of Biden and for future presidents. But I think that the majority of the court, I think Amy Coney Barrett and Chief Justice Roberts, does not want to see the president of the United States with that much power. I think that they are going to side with the liberals on the court. I think that they are going to vote against immunity. So I think Chief Justice Roberts is holding the decision until the very last minute to try to protect them from violence. And then they're all going to take off. They're going to go out of the country on vacation, for the summer, and they don't have to deal with it. So we'll see. Like I said, that's my prediction. In the meantime, though, they did issue some other very interesting rulings. So by now, you probably have heard they ruled against part of Idaho's archaic and truly cruel abortion law. It prevented doctors really from treating women who were very ill or women who they knew were going to become very gravely ill, because the federal law requires that hospitals and doctors provide emergency abortions to stabilize the mother's health and life. So federal law would dictate, hey, if this woman is conceivably going to be barren in the future, she will not be able to conceive a child in the future, you need to do what you need to do. You need to perform an abortion to preserve her ability to have a child in the future. They weren't doing that. Under the law, basically, these women could lose their life, could lose everything. And the federal law means, if she is at risk of developing sepsis, or some other medical condition that an abortion could cure, could prevent, the doctor has to perform the procedure. But Idaho's abortion ban was so restrictive that doctors were terrified of losing their their license to practice medicine. They were terrified of losing, their money, like being sued. So unless a patient was literally dying, they just refused to do anything. Now, unfortunately, the Supreme Court ruling isn't definitive. They upheld a lower court's ruling, but they didn't put this issue to rest. So there is undoubtedly going to be more litigation. So we'll see how that all plays out. The Supreme Court also blocked a settlement agreement with Purdue Pharma. So this is a good thing. The settlement, it would have cost the company $6 billion. It would have given money for their blatant disregard for the lives of people who they hooked on opioids. They knowingly did this. I mean, this is not a matter of opinion. This has been borne out by the evidence, by internal documents and, messages and so forth. And they knew exactly what they were doing. The part of the agreement that was positive was the payout, making them pay. Now, and that tells you they're getting hit with a $6 billion settlement. It shows you how much money these sick bastards made off of the suffering of people, which they knew damn well what they were doing. Now, what it would have also done, and which everyone had an issue with other than the Purdue, owners, it would have given protection to the owners of Purdue Pharma, which is the Sackler family. It would have protected them from being personally sued. So overall, I think this was a just decision. They should not be protected, knowing what they knew. And so we'll see what happens with that as well. The last ruling I wanted to share with you guys, it is a disaster for our planet and for future generations. The Supreme Court just ruled against the Environmental Protection Agency regarding a regulation on pollution. So this is the third time in 3 years that conservatives on the Supreme Court have ruled against the EPA and their efforts to try to reduce pollution, to try to curb climate change. And SCOTUS didn't even have to take up this latest case. The lower courts still have a case pending over the same matter. They haven't ruled on it yet. And the law in question doesn't even go into effect until 2026. So this was a blatant giveaway to the corporate oligarchs who rule our country. If young voters actually care about having a livable planet in the future, they need to get up. They need to vote against Republicans in November. It's that simple. We cannot have Donald Trump appointing possibly 2 more judges to the Supreme Court, young judges who will be there for the rest of their lives. The whole planet is doomed if that is allowed to happen, because it is very likely that Alito and Thomas are going to retire if Trump is reelected. And he is going to get those seats. He's going to get those appointments. So if we give Biden another 4 years, there's a chance that they still retire. Not as likely, but given their ages, it's likely that one of them at least passes away during Biden's next term. Or Kamala Harris, if she takes over, if Biden doesn't make it through another 4 years. I know it's gloomy, I know it's dark, but that is just, that's just the facts of the matter. So we want Biden, or at least a Democrat, some Democrat, to appoint the next justices, especially since they stole at least 1, conceivably 2 seats already. All right, so I will let you know when I hear more, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like this video, share it with everyone you know, especially younger voters. They need to know this stuff and pay attention, because this is more than about Gaza. Yes, Gaza is horrific, and yes, we should not be sending 2,000-pound bombs and other weapons over there to murder children. 100% against that, 100% for taking down Hamas, but not killing children in the meantime. But these things are also very important, and they affect people here in this country more directly. Sad to say, but it's true. It's just, again, the fact of the matter. So please share this. Please become a subscriber of the show if you have not. Donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.